Igniting, inspiring, and evoking the fire within.
Honestly, you have to learn to love yourself before you could love others. And what I mean by that is you should never feel criticized about the way you look or the way you act or the way you talk, the way you represent yourself. You should never let other people, bring you down. If you could just pray and have a connection with him, he will show you what it is to do and you'll feel great.
You're listening to the What's Your Inspiration podcast with Fox Beyer.
Hello and welcome to episode 59 of the What's Your Inspiration podcast. Today, I have a former student on who's also a man of faith and an author who advises today's youth. He is Matthew Duverne. Mateo, how are you today?
What's going on, Profe Beyer?
I'll say this, and I said it a lot in this podcast, but I truly believe it. I am better than I deserve, and I think you feel the same.
Absolutely. I'm so happy to be here. I'm blessed to be able to have this opportunity to come back to a former teacher, from being a little bad kid, bothering you in class to being able to be on your podcast and, bring greatness and positivity. So I really appreciate this, Profe Beyer.
You're selling yourself short, Matt. As I told you pre-interview, high school is a place where many go to mature, and you may not think of it this way, but you were in a lot of ways a very mature individual and in a very unique situation at Whippany Park High School during your time. And I enjoyed our teacher-student relationship, and so it continues.
Absolutely.
So a few weeks back, I wanted to tell the listeners, I was checking my Instagram messages one night before I retired to bed, and I saw a couple from those I wasn't friends with yet. And one was from Matt, and it said, "Hey, Prof, I've got a new book out. Would you be interested in reading it?" And immediately I went on and checked out this book, How a Boat Sinks for the Youth. And within a couple of days, I had it read. And I've told Matt this. I don't normally rifle through books. And yes, I'm biased toward Matt as a student. And that's initially why I was interested. But he's so transparent in his book that I think for this generation and for generations to come, it is a very useful tool. And in his book, How a Boat Sinks for the Youth, Matt takes us on a totally unique but relatable odyssey and shares his experiences with total transparency, and he focuses on this and future generations. Matt, what can you tell us about how the idea for the book came about?
It's truly amazing, honestly, because, as that young kid in his teenage phase, we all go through what we love the most, and that's the college life, the fun life. And for me, I went through the fun life, and I just found myself falling into so many different stories, and I didn't realize it until after I started becoming a better person. I started hanging around positive people. I started going to church more, and I interacted with a positive girl who brought positivity to my life. And from there, it all just happened. Like, I thought of the idea of writing a book, putting down all my experiences. I was telling family members and, my girlfriend these experiences. And it's just like, wow, I could really write some sort of, book. And what makes it interesting is I wrote it so quick, and it makes perfect sense. The format of the book is in a way where teens will say, okay, I could probably read this because, the format isn't crazy. The words aren't, long, and the book is not long itself. It's 120 pages. A lot of kids don't like to read. So the idea was just amazing. And, it really just came from a voice from God. And, I'm happy that I listened and I was able to, write this book of wisdom.
And I'm happy that you put your wisdom down on paper. I think that you started writing this years ago, maybe pre-high school, without even knowing it.
Exactly.
But it's amazing how things come together like that. When like you said, when you get around good people, right? Good people, good positive people. So early in the book, Matt, you take us through your early academic years. Who specifically has educated you in ways you never thought of?
In my academic career, honestly,
You can take it outside of your academic career, but I
mhm,
think just early in the book you focused on your high school years. But I guess the question is there anybody who's educated you in ways you never thought they would?
honestly speaking, it would definitely be um, the high school in general. It would be the high school that I went to, and of course, my family. And the reason why I say the high school I went to is because I can remember it like it was yesterday. As a freshman, a black freshman, very small, not a lot of confidence in himself. Man, this was the scariest thing. I don't see a lot of African Americans in the school, and from there, I just knew things would be somewhat interesting. Let's say that. And I learned a lot of different things. Being this quiet but funny kid, I was very observant to things. I was always wanting to interact and learn. And the one of the ways that I learn is I learn quietly. And once I have what I learn, I'll have confidence in saying it. And then of course my family. My mother has always been there for me. My father's been there for me, teach me, how to be a man, but mainly my mother for being patient with me and always putting into my mind that I was going to be great. And, all the times that she would say, listen, Matt, you're going to be great. You're going to be successful. Sometimes I didn't listen, but then it all makes sense as we get older. And I feel that we spoke into existence. So I thank God for that.
Those 2 years eventually worked.
Absolutely.
Eventually took. I think of anybody in the book that's been referenced, I think your mom was referenced the most. I can recall you and I collaborating on a poem in
Absolutely.
during your high school years called "Mom," and you explained the. Why don't you explain the story of you being in the womb and what happened?
Wow, Profe. Wow. I just got the chills, really, honestly, because what's funny is this poem that me and you collabed on, I didn't really remember it, if that makes sense. Of course it makes sense, but I didn't visualize it as well as I'm visualizing it now. And it's coming to me that we did write a poem about my mother, and that poem was just me in her womb, and we got involved in a car crash. And from there, it's just like, if you survive something like that, there's got to be a purpose in your life. And especially on my mom's side, she's carrying the kid and she's driving, and boom, an accident. That's traumatizing, and that's takes a very brave and strong woman. So yeah, that poem, we started that poem at a young age too. I didn't realize that I would be able to.
I think you were 15, sophomore year of high school, I believe.
Unbelievable. I would love a copy of it as soon as we're done, so I could read it again and maybe even write another book upon it.
How
Really.
about how about it was for I from what I recall, it was for Mother's Day
Mhm.
and it was for church that Sunday, and you were going to read it at church
Wow.
during service, I believe,
Mhm.
from what I can call.
Yep.
So there, it's called Mom. You can change the title. You have full copyright for that. Okay.
All right.
It might upset your brother Dudley. Might not be the way things are going in the music biz, but I'm giving it to you and letting you spread it out to the world.
Appreciate that.
Absolutely, Matt. Define self love and what do you feel are the biggest threats to self-love in today's society?
Oh wow. Um, Self-love is self-explanatory, really, honestly. Um, Honestly, you have to learn to love yourself before you could love others. And what I mean by that is you should never feel criticized about the way you look or the way you act or the way you talk, the way you represent yourself. You should never let other people, bring you down, because at the end of the day, God created us all to be different. God has a different plan for everyone's life, and God's not going to make us all the same. That would be no fun, really. So everyone has a different story. Everyone has a different testimony. Everyone has a different life, really. And self-love is loving yourself before you could go and put love into, other people. And that's even hard to begin with because you don't know who to trust. You don't know who to trust in this world to be able to, love someone that's just telling you they love you by words. Love is action. Okay. Love is action. And if you're just listening to someone say, I love the way you look all the time, there's a story behind it. You should always love the way you look. You should always love the way you sound. You should always love yourself before others. And ways to get around people like that is just having self-confidence, waking up and saying, I know I'm this guy. I know I look the way I look and I look amazing. I know that, my appearance, my everything will bring me somewhere in this world. And I'm not going to listen to some Instagram fan or some Instagram girl. But yeah, that's self-love for you. And it's very important to have as young people, old people, everyone, really.
Well put. There's a great TED talk. Her name's Amy Cuddy, and she talks about the power of posture and how your body, standing up straight, chin up, can change your mind, and your mind can change your belief, and your belief can change your outcomes. And I think you really encapsulated that right there. Outstanding. Matt, explain the word clout and why you included it in your book.
Oh man, clout. As it's said in the book, oh man, clout really honestly is just a term. It's a new term that us young folks, found ourselves saying, oh, I got clout. But really, a broken down definition of clout, for our old heads is just fitting in, really, fitting in, trying to fit in and be this cool, popular person. And, clout could bring you a long way, really, honestly, in this world. Clout, you have to have a certain way of seeing things and living and doing things, really, such as, partying and the swag that everyone wears now, the new clothing, new shoes. That's all a part of clout. And it's not good. Yeah. It's a phase that us people go through. And once we get out of this stage and phase, we'll realize how dumb we looked and how dumb clout is. But yeah, that's clout for you. Just trying to be this person that you're really not.
And I guess for us older folk, it's being hip, or even in earlier days, I know a student used the phrase hype beast. So it makes you think of those phrases. But again, we've talked earlier on before the interview. If someone, most of us can look back at our earlier years and say, that's not me anymore. So
Yeah,
I think we can include both of us in that. Yes.
absolutely.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. Now we're going to play a game called What, Which, and Where. So I'm going to read a quote, could be from a song, from a book, and you tell me from where it came. Are
Oh
you
man,
ready?
I am scared but ready.
All right. All right. Nerves are good. It means you're alive. So here's quote number one in What, Which, and Where. So now tell me what you know about love, and I got what you need.
That is Pop Smoke.
Pop Smoke. So tell us a little bit about Pop Smoke, and he's a recording artist who, rest in peace, is deceased from what I know, but
Yeah.
his spirit lives on in this world. What kind of impact has Pop Smoke had on your life?
You know what? Honestly, if you see it from my point of eye, the song alone, "What Do You Know About Love?" It's a great song, really. Besides, all the explicit content, but the song is a good song, and every song that you listen to has a meaning. It has a meaning, and the meaning behind this song is, first of all, to bring back some history. This song was already made. This song was, I believe, Tamaya and Fabulous, "So Into You." They took the song and the lyrics and the beat, and he made that song. But the song is, "What do you know about love?" you know I got what you need. It's just bringing a sort of confidence. I love it. It's like, I got what you need. You could trust me. I'll show you what love is. You don't know what it is until you meet me. So it's a very strong song. And some people don't know what love is, and love is very powerful. Out of three things: faith, hope, and love, love is the most powerful of them all. So Pop Smoke, rest in peace. Gone too early, but great song.
I concur, and I think you talked about what love is, and he's talking about it in the song. It's you love isn't, you're not just saying it, but you're doing it. It's in what you do for other people.
For
So
sure.
weirdly, I don't know, it's going to sound weird, but Pop Smoke in that line is being boastingly unselfish
Hmm.
uh, in that line. So there it is, Pop Smoke. So now tell me what you know about love, and I got what you need. All right, you're one for one. Are you ready? Ready for number
Yeah,
two?
I'm scared, but I'm ready.
Here we go. As humans, we are all insecure, but the more secure admit to it.
Hmm. As humans, we're more insecure.
We are all insecure, but the more secure admit to it.
Hmm. It sounds like me, but
I'd say it sounds like a lot of people. I set you up there. I heard it at a wedding in 2011. And I thought, you know what? I don't remember the pastor's name, but I figured it would be good to bring into this podcast. So
absolutely.
if you could admit to that, you said it. I'll admit to that I'm insecure in a lot of ways. So I guess I said it. So we said it.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
so where does insecurity come from?
Oh man, insecurity comes from, honestly, we're all born with insecurity, I believe. You know, there's going to be something that we're insecure about. We're not a perfect image. We're not perfect people. There's going to be something that you're just so insecure about. It's something that we're born with. And if you're not born with it, well then cool. You're perfect. But that alone, being perfect is not fun at all. It's not fun. Be
Where do you
different.
have to go? You have nowhere to go.
Oh man, you just look like a loser, really. But insecurity, it definitely comes within yourself, and it comes from the world. Because with the world recognizing what you're insecure about, they could use that against you, man. They could hurt you. And it's terrible that we live in this world where you could be honest about something and you'll meet 2 3 people come and gather up on you, and it's like, yeah, he hates the way he his hairline looks or something, like, okay, thanks for telling me. Now you go home and you feel hurt,
That's all you
but
think
they don't
about,
know
right?
that.
That's all
They
you
don't
think
know
about.
that. It's crazy. They don't know that some words could hurt you.
There's a great, and I believe I showed this in your class, if you remember, way back as a student of mine. I showed you a video of Nick Vujicic speaking. He's the no arms, no legs, no worries
Yep,
guy.
yep.
Talks about in that speech out in high school in California, it's not hard to tease somebody. You can
Mhm.
tease somebody about anything, but the act of doing that is like pulling around a Matchbox car when you're sitting in a Mercedes Benz. It's just not
Mhm.
hard to do. You're not showing your toughness. But
Terrible.
yeah, just it's an interesting question that I got a lot of perspectives on, and I appreciate that, Mateo.
Absolutely.
Let's go on to this now. Um, we know all heroes don't wear a cape. But if you had the opportunity right now to take an hour car ride with one of the following two people, who would it be and why? Would it be Pop Smoke or would it be your mom? And I realize Pop Smoke is in body no longer with us, but if you were, would it be Pop Smoke or would it be your mom?
As in, like, a car ride?
Take a car ride. You want to take a car ride, share some wisdom for an hour
Does it
right
have
now.
to? Would it be Pop Smoke or my mom, or could it be someone else?
I will let you choose someone else if you have someone else in mind right now. It's never happened on this podcast, but if you want to choose somebody else right now, you may do that.
I feel I would want to take a car ride with God,
Mm. And what's the first
because,
question you would ask him?
oh man, God, what is your plans for me? What is it that you want me to be? What is it that you have in storage for me? Who is it that you want me to be with? Give me a vision of what my life is going to look like so that I may walk according to it the right way. That's one of the biggest, that's actually very amazing question that you asked me. I would 100% say my mother. But I believe that if I was on a car ride with God, it would be more beneficial than if a car ride with my mom. No offense, I love you, mom, but I live with my mom, and I feel like God has all the answers that I need, and it would be amazing, really.
Matt, do you realize it as a man of faith? I mean, you're a man of faith. I'm a man of faith. And do you realize he's there right now?
Yes, sir.
He's there right now. So you can go right now, get in your car, and he's going to be right there. And you can ask him all those questions.
Absolutely.
I need you to go ahead and do that. I need you to go ahead and do that. Hey, thank you for this. I got one more question for you. And this is
Mhm.
something, a statement that is coming from your book, something your mom has told you over and over again over the years. When you get older, Matthew, and I'm long gone, you're going to remember the things I taught you. Last question for you is, what advice do you have for people who feel like they have hit rock bottom?
Oh man, if you have a mother, all right, and this is no offense to the fathers, but it's just a relationship with a mother is just so much stronger than with a guy. You feel so much more comfortable speaking to your mother, really honestly. And advice, if you feel like you've hit rock bottom, you need to talk to your mother. She's the one who put you on this earth. She knows everything about you, I would hope. And she has the answers if you just listen. Sometimes we're hard-headed, and including myself. I never liked listening to my mother. Still sometimes I don't like listening to her. But at the end of the day, everything that a mother says, anything that a mother teaches you is for the better, and it's for future references. I was taught at a very young age, I was always always cleaning at the age of 6, 7, and it's brought me far. It's a trait that not only women will love in a husband, but it's a trait for ourselves to stay clean. And I've always um learned that and took that to the heart till this day. But if you feel like you're hitting rock bottom, talk to your mother, and of course, talk to the one who deserves all the credit, which is God. God has all the answers for your life. He will pick you up when you're at your lowest point. If you could just pray and have a connection with him, he will show you what it is to do, and you'll feel great. You'll feel as if, I feel like I want to, just leave this world And if God sees your heart and you pray to him, he'll change your life, you know, and it'll become a testimony more than an experience. You share the testimony with everybody, but in reality, you know the experience that you went through, you know. And you know, it's funny, because a lot of experiences that I may have went through, that sometimes I felt that I was at rock bottom, I got picked up from those experiences. You know, my confidence rose up, my faith was there, and it still is. So hang in there. You know, not everyone is this amazing person. Most importantly, a quote that I love to say is, you are not alone. You're not alone. It's not you versus the world. It's a million trillion other people in this world who go through 10 times worse than what you're going through, what I'm going through, you know? So you're not alone, and keep pushing, keep praying, communicate with your mother while she's here.
Amen to that. Amen to that. And it goes back to, made me think of what I call fail forward moments. Things happen at the time you think it's the worst thing that could have ever happened to you, but you look back and say, I learned a lot from that. I learned
Absolutely.
a lot. Fail forward moments with Matthew Duverne, episode 59 of the What's Your Inspiration podcast. Hey, as we wrap up here, why don't you plug your book? And if you want to share how listeners can get in touch with you, please do that as well.
All right. So here's the book, How a Boat Sinks. Very simple book, not too long, summary in the back. I would love to share the summary, but I want to leave you guys on a cliffhanger. But How a Boat Sinks. How a Boat Sinks. You can find it all over Amazon, and my Instagram will be in the back of the book. But if you guys don't know the Instagram, it is Matthew Duverne, and you know, that's it, Prof. That's Matty Duverne.
Spell your last name for the listeners.
It is Duverne. First name is Matthew, spelled as in the Bible, and the book is called How a Boat Sinks.
For the youth. I'm going to promoting for this podcast and this interview. The picture is the cover of Matt's book, so you'll have that, and I'm going to post his Amazon author page along with the show notes for this episode. Matt, this has been outstanding. Thank you for your time, and thank you for your space.
Thank you, Prof. I really appreciate that.
This will wrap up episode 59 of the What's Your Inspiration podcast. Matthew and I will talk at you all later. Take good care.
All right.
You have been listening to the What's Your Inspiration podcast with Fox Buyer, because impact on each other is the greatest currency you could ever have.